Hello, it's screen visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we'll start learning programming in Java. Okay. So as Java is object-oriented programming. Okay. We also call it OOP, object-oriented programming. So we have to know the object-oriented concept at first. Like what is an object-oriented programming? Okay. What is an object? What is a class? What features it has? So first of all, we all have to install JDK, right? We have to install JDK. The full form is Java Development Kit. Equal to means when we install JDK, like if you want to execute Java program in any environment, you have to install JDK in that environment at first. Then JDK will help you to execute Java programs into that specific environment. Okay. So JDK, Java Development Kit. When we install JDK, what happens? So when we install JDK, there are two things, JRE and JVM, Java Virtual Machine, and JRE, Java Runtime Environment. Java Runtime Environment and Java Virtual Machine is automatically installed. When we install JDK, JDK contains JRE and JVM. What is this JRE and JVM? So JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment and JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. So what are these two things? Java Runtime Environment helps you to execute your Java program, and Java Virtual Machine provides you the environment. Like this is the virtual machine. We have a physical machine. Like in my computer, I have a processor, CPU, dual core or either dual core or quad core or octa core or deca core, whatever the core is. So I have a CPU, a physical RAM, physical CPU, physical memory, secondary memory, SSD or hard disk, whatever it is. So it creates a virtual machine. Why does it create a virtual machine? Because someone has Windows machine, someone has Linux machine, okay? Someone has Linux machine and someone has Windows machine. So Java will not be executed in any of these environments. Doesn't matter like it is Windows or Linux or Mac. Java will be only executed in an environment which has Java runtime environment and Java virtual machine. But we don't install them individually. We install JDK. That is why it is a kit. Kit means it contains so many things. It contains so many things. So what does it contain? JDK contains JRE and JVM. JRE means Java runtime environment. It provides you runtime environment so that like we can execute Java programs in our computer. And JVM means we have physical devices, we have CPU, we have RAM, we have memory, whatever the physical device is. So it creates a virtual machine from your physical machine. So to create any virtual machine, you need to have a physical machine. Otherwise, virtual is not possible. Like some like an example of cloning. Okay, so there must be a physical machine. From that physical machine, it will create a virtual machine. Virtual machine is created from physical machine, and it uses your physical machine, your physical resources. Like it will be using your RAM, your CPU cores. It will be using your physical resources. Without physical resources, virtual is not possible. You have to have a physical machine installed. You have to have a physical machine installed. On that physical machine, it will create a virtual machine. But in this virtual machine, it will have Java runtime environment. It is a kind of operating system. You can consider it a kind of operating system. Means like I have Windows installed in my computer. Someone may have like Linux, or you may have Mac, Apple. But Java program you cannot execute in any of these three environments, like Windows or Linux or Mac. It needs Java runtime environment. It means in your machine, in your operating system, the first thing is virtual machine. It creates a virtual machine, and inside this virtual machine, it installs this environment. It means inside this machine, it has Java runtime environment. It is a kind of operating system, not a complete full operating system, but it is a kind of operating system. It is a kind of driver program which provides you everything, whatever is required to execute a Java program into any computer system. Doesn't matter it is a computer or TV or mobile phone. You can execute it anywhere. You can execute Java program anywhere. But the only thing it needs is to have this runtime environment. We need to install this JDK at first. After installing JDK, we will have these two things, JRE and JVM. Okay, so JDK we need to install these two things. When we install JDK, it means installing JDK means we are installing Java runtime environment into Java virtual machine. This is the first thing which will be created into your computer system, and inside that JVM, this environment will be installed. Okay. If you don't have JDK, you will not be able to execute Java program anyway. Okay. So this is the JDK you have to install. How to download it? So there are so many versions of JDK. Okay, there are so many versions of JDK like JDK 8, JDK 11, JDK 17, JDK 19. So I have installed 17. You can install 19 or 11 or 8. So why do we need to choose which like a specific version of JDK? So to understand it, like there are feature differences. The differences in their features. See an example. Java reserved keywords. Okay. And anything related to Java, whatever you need to know, you just have to go through or visit Oracle website. Okay. Because you will get the exact correct information at Oracle. it is not guaranteed that you will get the correct information on other websites, but it is guaranteed that on Oracle's website, you will get the correct information because Java is of Oracle. So docs.oracle.com means documentation. Okay. So docs.oracle.com, Java language keyword. See, these are the Java reserved keywords like abstract, assert, boolean, break, byte, case, catch, char, class, const, continue, default. So see, like single star means not used. You cannot use it. As goto is a reserved keyword. It is reserved in Java grammar, but you cannot use it. It is reserved for future use. There are few keywords like const and goto. These are available in the reserved keyword of Java, but you cannot use them as they are reserved for future purpose, future use. Okay, so we cannot use these two keywords, but they are still available. Double time star asterisk means added in Java 1.2 before the version 1.2. This specific keyword is not available. You cannot use it in previous version of 1.2. 3 star, it means 2 star means this specific reserved keyword is added in Java 1.2. 3 means this assert and enum. Sorry, enum is 4 star, 4 times star. So assert means assert was added in Java 1.4. Enum was added in Java 5.0. So if you use the previous version, old version before 5.0, so you will not be able to use enum. But in Java 8, Java 11, you will be able to use all these things. Okay. And the latest version means the latest security updates. In every latest version, we get latest update like security update. Okay. And like the bytecode update. Bytecode means number of bytes processed per second. Speed will be faster as compared to the previous version. So latest version means latest updates related to security, execution speed, execution time, uh, reserve keywords, features. These are added in latest versions. But I'll suggest you to use Java 17. Okay. Why do we need to use Java 17? Or you can also use Java 11. This is the best to practice. Why it is best to practice Java 11 or 17? 11 is best. 17 is better. Why? What is the reason? Because when we develop a software, whenever we develop any software, after the development, we have to deploy it on cloud server. After the development, you have to launch it on cloud, on server, on virtual server, on internet, so that anyone could access it from anywhere. So if you talk about cloud, so you must have heard about AWS and Microsoft Azure. We'll be using cloud services at AWS and Azure. So at AWS, whenever you configure the virtual server with Java, so at AWS, Java 11 is the latest. AWS does not have Java 17. There are so many like features or services where you will get Java 17, but few services can only offer Java 11. Like I am using for my website, like octaclus.tech, like this is the company website. For this website, we are using Amazon Web Services. Okay, see, Amazon organization issued by Amazon, license and everything. So I am using this SSL certificate from Amazon. I'm using Amazon Virtual Server. So what specific service or product I'm using at Amazon to deploy or to host my application? I'm using Cloud9. Okay. See, aws.amazon.com, products, developer tool. See, AWS Cloud9, like write, run, and debug code on Cloud IDE. This is the Cloud IDE. So this Cloud9 IDE, when you use, you will get only Java 11 and 8. You will not get Java 17. It means there are few things which you need to know before the deployment of the application. It means if you are using Java 17 and when you deploy the application and there you don't have Java 17, you only have Java 11. It means again you have to convert your application from Java 17 to Java 11. But if you know what JDK versions are available on AWS and what JDK versions are available on Microsoft Azure, so 11 is available at both platforms. So if you practice on Java 11, it is best, or you can also use Java 17. Okay, like this is the local PC, this is the my computer, and at my PC, as this is the local host, I can install Java 19, I can install Java 17. But when you deploy your application on server, there are something you need to know what JDK version is available at the server side. Because right now, this is the client PC. This is the client and this is the server. Both client and server is my computer. But when you deploy any application on cloud server, then you have to know what versions are available there. And those versions you have to use. So 11 you will get everywhere. But 17 sometimes you will get, sometimes you will not. So it is best practice to install 11 or 17 is also better. Okay. So JDK, when you install, it will automatically install JRE and JVM, Java Virtual Machine and Java Runtime Environment. Okay. So this is the thing which you have to install JDK at first. Now any IDE, like I prefer VS Code. You may install Eclipse or you may install NetBeans. So which company has developed this IDE VS Code? Microsoft. Eclipse, IBM. NetBeans, Oracle. The developer of this IDE is Oracle company. IBM has developed Eclipse IDE and Microsoft has developed VS Code, Visual Studio Code. So I prefer Microsoft. I personally use Microsoft. I'm using this VS Code since like 10 years, I guess. So I am using this VS Code since 10 years. And it is of Microsoft company. And in VS Code, you will get so many features. Some of them you will not get in Eclipse and NetBeans. Like OpenAI, you will not get in Eclipse and NetBeans. But in VS Code, you will get OpenAI. It will be enabled by default here. See, VS Code OpenAI initializing. Let's see VS Code OpenAI. Like there are so many things which are related to AI, artificial intelligence. So we will get so many features here in VS Code. And there are other features which are available in VS Code, but they are not available in Eclipse and NetBeans. So there are so many reasons. Why do I use VS Code? So you can also use VS Code. And if you deploy the application, any application, when you develop an application, Java application, and if you want to deploy it on cloud server, and if you're using Microsoft Azure, at Microsoft Azure, you will get VS Code at cloud side also. It means on online, you will also get VS Code. You will not get NetBeans and Eclipse, but you will get VS Code. Connecting VS Code is with GitHub is very easy, but here you have to do so many things. That is the reason I personally use VS Code. User friendly, very easy to understand, easy to add like features, easy to get updates, easy to add extensions, the user interface also. So there are so many things, so many reasons why do I use VS Code. So this is the JDK, Java Development Kit. IDE, just install VS Code. How do you download VS Code? Just go to Google and search. Download VS Code. See, code.visualstudio.com. Windows, Linux, or Mac. You can download it and install it. The installation is like basic process. Okay. Download JDK 17 or 11, whatever you want. Java 17, 11, 17.0.7. Okay. So these two installations, anyone you can install. exe means executable file, MSI Microsoft installer. Both you can, like any of these two you can download in Windows and install it. Okay. DMG means for Mac, Linux, for Linux. Okay. So if you're using Linux, you can install it, these applications. If you're using Mac, you can download it. And if you're using Windows, you can download either this or this. MSI means Microsoft installer. And exe means executable. Both are executed in Windows environment. After that, you have to install MySQL. Okay. For database. How to download it? Download MySQL. Go to MySQL downloads. As this video recording, you can watch the video how to download it. So go to the mysql.com downloads page and click on this MySQL Community GPL, General Public License. MySQL installer for Windows. This is 428 MB. You can download it and install it. These three things you have to download and install before doing anything. Because without JDK, you will not be able to execute Java program. This is the IDE. IDE means integrated development environment. Without IDE, you can also like execute Java programs. But IDE provides you so many features. You don't have to like execute or compile any program through command line argument, through commands. You can directly get a button, run button, just click on that. It will execute, it will compile and execute both. You will get debug option also. There are so many features it provides. It does not mean that if you don't have IDE, you cannot execute Java program. It is not like that. You can still execute Java program. The only thing which you have to know, like which you have to install, which you have to have is JDK only. Okay. So after installing IDE, VS Code, you have to install some extensions. See, this is the file edit selection, project search. This is the extension. Just go to the extension, write Java extension pack. Okay. Internet is required. Extension pack for Java. you have to install it. I already have installed it. That is why it is showing me uninstall. So you have to install extension pack for Java. The first thing, this is the extension. And the second thing is Spring Initializer Java. Just write here, Spring Initializer Java setup, Java support. You have to install it and nothing else. Spring Initializer Java support and Java extension pack. These two things you have to add. These two extensions you have to add. That's all. The installation process is done. What you have to do is now let's start working with object-oriented programming. What is object-oriented programming and what are the features of object-oriented programming? Like features or principle of object-oriented programming. Okay. So principles of object-oriented programming, or you can also say object-oriented principles. Object-oriented programming principles. Principles means, what is a principle? Principle means something, a standard or something which is based on. Principle means something on which something is based on. Like object-oriented programming principle means it is something on which some programming languages are based. It means if there is a programming language which is based on object-oriented principle, it means it must have something. Like the first thing is, whatever the programming language is, if it is based on object-oriented principle, if it supports object-oriented programming, it means it must have abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, inheritance, and message passing. Every object-oriented programming language. Which programming language is object-oriented programming language? What is the answer of this question? Which programming language is object-oriented programming language? Any programming language which supports object-oriented concept, or any programming language which is based on object-oriented programming principle, or any programming language which supports creating classes and objects, it means it is an object-oriented programming language. Like C programming language is not an object-oriented programming language. Why? Because it does not support classes and objects. C++ is object-oriented programming language, OOP. Why? Because it supports classes and objects. You can create classes and objects in C++. You can create classes and objects in Python. You can create classes and objects in Visual Basic. You can create classes and objects in Python, in Java, in .NET, in PHP. It means they all are object-oriented programming languages. And what is an object-oriented programming language? Object-oriented programming language means programming language. What is a programming language? Programming language is a computer language which is used to write computer programs or softwares. If someone will ask you, what is a software? Just simply say, software is a computer program, lines of code, or a set of instructions which instructs the computer hardware that what to perform. Inside the computer, to perform any specific task, you have to call a computer program. So where does computer programs come from? They come from programming languages. We write computer programs in a specific programming language. There are so many languages: C, C++, Java, Python, PHP, .NET, HTML, SQL. There are so many languages. So which language we should consider before starting anything? So every specific language is designed or developed to perform specific tasks. If you want to like design web pages, so no need to learn C, C++, Java, Python, .NET, PHP. You need to learn HTML if you want to design websites. If you want to query the database, you need to know SQL. You cannot query the database using C, C++, Java, Python. To query database, you have to know SQL. To design websites, user interfaces, websites, not every user interface. To design a website, you have to know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript also. To work with web applications, you have to know Java, Python, .NET, PHP. C, C++ will not work with web applications, websites at the backend side. So every specific language is designed to perform specific tasks. Like there are specific places like bank to deposit money or withdraw money, schools to get the education, playground for the playing purpose, police station for specific purpose, for other purposes. So there are places to perform specific tasks. The same way we have languages to do with specific things. You cannot do everything with a specific language. But Java and Python, you can use it for anything. For web applications, for standalone applications, like the applications, type of applications which are like installed on computer system, mobile applications, scientific research, anything. PDA applications like personal digital assistants, small devices which are used to perform specific tasks. So Java and Python you can use for anything, for everything. That is why Java and Python are popular in the market. But when we should choose which specific language like Java or Python? So if you want to develop enterprise level applications like software development, enterprise applications, management software, ERP softwares, you should consider Java. But if you want to work with data analytics, you want to only work with data, APIs, data analysis, data collection, data scraping, data modeling, machine learning and AI also, you can choose Python. But for software development, always consider Java for enterprise applications. And it is not like you cannot develop enterprise applications with Python. Definitely you can develop any kind of application with Python and Java also. It does not mean that you cannot like work with data with Java. You can also work with data science and MLAI in Java. But what things we should consider before choosing the specific language? If you are working in the field of enterprise application development, software development, so whenever you get any problem, when you face any problem and you search that specific problem on YouTube, you will get thousands of answers, thousands of results related to software development in Java. But if you search software development related problems in Python, you will get nothing. See an example. Go to YouTube, search here microservices tutorial, microservices crash course for beginners, Spring Boot. It means Java, Spring Boot, microservices using Spring Boot, microservices full course. Spring Boot. Okay. Spring Boot microservice tutorial in Java. Build and deploy Spring Boot application to Microsoft Azure. Let's start microservices tutorial series. JDBC, Java database connectivity. It means, see, when we search microservice, what type of results you are getting? Everything related to Java. Is there anything related to Python? No. This is the reason. When you work with software development, see, microservices using Spring Boot. When you are entering in software development field, always choose Java. But when you search data analytics, every result is related to Python. See, what is data analytics? And data analytics full course. Data analytics using Python. R. Data analyst course. Python. R. It means when you search data analytics keyword, any keyword related to data science, ML and AI, you will get thousands of results in Python. And when you write backend development, microservices, and all these kind of things related to software engineering, enterprise software development, you will get thousands of results related to Java. This is the reason when you should consider Java and when you should consider Python. But you can do everything in Java and Python also. If you want to work with enterprise softwares, definitely you can develop it in Python. But if you know Python, if you know everything, it is okay. But when you face any problem, you will not get any tutorial, any video, any help. So you have to solve that specific problem yourself. It means it will take some time. No one will be able to teach you data science, machine learning, and AI in Java. Because no one is interested in learning data science, ML, and in Java. But here in our course, we'll be learning data science, machine learning, and AI in Java. I'll train you about how to work with data science, ML, and AI with Java. And Python, you can get every video on YouTube. As we are like developing applications, enterprise level applications in Java, so we have to know everything in Java. You have to know data science in Java. You have to know machine learning and AI in Java. You have to know deep learning in Java. You have to know natural language processing in Java. Image processing, everything which is included in AI topic, we have to do it in Java. So you have to know the programming in Java at first very well. If you have basic idea about Java, you will face so many problems. You have to know Java very well in depth. Then you will be able to solve every problem related to data science, ML, and AI in Java. So we will do it in very depth. That is why we discuss today about JDK, JRE, JVM, which specific version to consider, which specific like ID to consider. So today is the first class, so I will not take more time today. That's all for today. And like from tomorrow, we'll be discussing about OOP principles and Java features. Then we'll enter into the practical thing. Tomorrow will be theory, but from day after tomorrow, like from Monday, we'll start working with practical things. So is everything like clear? Whatever we have discussed today, everyone? Vamshi, Niveda, Debin.
Yes, Vishal.
Yes, Vishal.
Yes, Vishal.
Okay. So let's connect tomorrow. I'm sharing you the recording of today's class and this text file also in the group. Okay. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. and from Monday, we will only be having the classes Monday to Friday, 9 to 10 p.m. And if everyone wants, we can also connect on Saturday and Sundays at 9 to 10 p.m. I don't have any problem. 7 days. Okay. So let's connect tomorrow. It's done for today.